Hey everyone, it's Tim. I asked you to ask me questions, and you asked, so here are my answers. Before we get into it, I just want to say thank you for submitting your questions. I got a lot more questions than I actually thought I was going to get, so thank you very much. If you didn't know that I asked for questions, I did so on Twitter. Be sure to follow me on there. You can also email me your questions. My email address is smith@ttimsmith.com. And if you have any other questions as well, you can comment them in the comments below. I'll make sure to feature them on the next episode of Ask Tim, if there is one. Our first question is from Jim, and his question is, when creating a design, how do you weigh fun additions versus overdoing it? For those of you that don't know, I used to be a web designer, product designer, whatever it is that they call themselves these days. I think for me personally, it came down to two different things. As a designer, my priority is to create things that people enjoy using. Every decision has to be guided by that fact then, is guided by the people that are going to use this and whether they would enjoy it or not. The second thing has to do with budget. Do we have money to continue to add things? Because usually in a design, if something is designed a certain way, that means that it then needs to be developed in that way. And that costs money and time. All of those things are factors into whether something gets added on, if it's a fun addition or if, we have to cut it because it's too much. Our next question is from Hugo, and he asks, I know you love Chemex, but do you have any other favorite coffee brewing methods and why? Yes, I do love my Chemex, but I would say that my next favorite coffee brewing method is the AeroPress. And I'm actually going to be doing a video about that eventually. I don't know when that's going to be. The AeroPress is one of my favorite coffee brewing methods. The AeroPress is geared towards 1 cup of coffee, right? And during the week, I'm usually making coffee for just myself because Kelly's at work. Another reason I like it is because the coffee's strong. I mean, depending on the recipe that you're using, you're putting a lot of coffee to very little water, so it turns out pretty strong and pretty good. The next question is from Nicole, and she asks, curious to hear about what gear you find absolutely essential, like when you travel, what are you taking with you? What could you not work and be productive without? Do you ever record video or podcasts on the road? I'll start with the first part of this question, which is what gear do I find essential when I travel? I always take my MacBook Pro. I always take my iPad Pro. I always have my camera with me now. The camera that I have is the Sony a7 III with a 50mm lens. I plan to buy in the future a 24 to 70mm G Master, which I've rented that lens before, and it's amazing. The photos that you get out of it are great. The video that you can do with it is also great. I'm a pretty light packer. I mean, compared to other people, I'm pretty light. I usually only take a backpack with a carry-on bag. The carry-on bag that I have is the Away carry-on, and the backpack that I have is the Think Tank Perception 15. And I've been using this backpack for about 3-4 weeks now, and I love it. It's a wonderful daily carry bag for me, but also it's great for traveling. I plan to do a review on that bag eventually, but yeah, for now, that's what I'll say. I love this bag. Do you ever record video or podcasts on the road? So no, I don't record podcasts for sure. I try not to do that just because it requires me to take gear with me, and I don't like to take a lot of gear because, again, I like to travel light. I don't tend to do that. Video is easier to do. As you've noticed on this channel, the type of videos that I do are not very travel focused. I haven't really done that. I've tried vlogging before and I can't do it. I just get too embarrassed. I feel weird just having the camera, in front of me and everybody's like looking at me like, what the heck is this dude doing? So yeah, I don't do video on the road. Our next question is from Justin, and Justin asks, what's your new role all about? So some of you might have heard that I'm the new senior producer at Changelog, and Changelog is a company that produces podcasts for developers. So my job on a day-to-day basis is to edit, mix, and master our shows, as well as lead some new initiatives that we're starting. And you'll hear more about that sometime soon. Next question is from Ed, and he asks, how are you finding working for the Changelog? Plus, what the hell is going on with the Millennium Falcon in the latest Solo trailer? First of all, I love working at the changelog. I've been working at the changelog for about 3 weeks now, and it's been a lot of fun. I'd been doing web development and web design for 10 years, and I feel like I needed a change. And this job is giving me that change. I'm excited to go to work. I'm excited with the work that I get to do. And most of all, it is challenging. I'm learning new things all the time because I haven't done this professionally. I've hosted podcasts before. I've done my own show before, but this is the first time that I'm actually doing this in a professional full-time way. So it's very challenging, but it's exciting at the same time. On the Millennium Falcon, I don't know. There are so many things that worry me about this film, and I'll get into it a little bit later. But that's the short answer is I don't know. Our next question is from Thomas, and his question is, what does your typical day look like now? And what kind of software/tools go into your work? So my typical day is editing, mixing, and mastering all the shows at changelog. So that means that I edit out pauses or awkward silences. I make the shows flow better, and I make sure that the mix is sounding good and at a kind of equal loudness so that all of our shows sound very similar if you were to listen to them all back to back. And the program that I use, the software, the tools that I use for that is, first of all, Adobe Audition. And Adobe Audition is actually a program that Adam was the one that kind of introduced me to, because I had used Logic before, I'd used Pro Tools before, but Audition is pretty new to me, but I'm getting the hang of it. I'm starting to see all the shortcuts that I can use, and I'm customizing it as I go by. And little by little, I'm editing faster and faster, and it's a lot of fun. I really, really like Audition. And especially for these type of videos, learning more about Audition has made the sound quality of these videos a lot better, because now I've learned how these two programs kind of interact, Premiere and Adobe Audition. In the future, we'll be doing some videos that go a little bit more into depth into the tools that we actually use to record our shows and make them sound as good as they do. Keep your eye out on that if you want to stay in the loop. Follow me on Twitter, because that's where I generally share that type of stuff. Our next question is from Carol, and she asks, you were not excited about the new Han movie coming out. Why? And won't it give some good background like Rogue One did for the story? Man, it seems to be common knowledge that I am not excited about this movie. So I'm not excited about this movie because I feel like Han was miscast. And, take that with a grain of salt, because I'm only making that judgment based on the trailer. But still, I feel like his character is miscast. I really like the casting of Lando. I like, the casting of other characters that seem to be in this movie. Obviously, we're going to have to make a final judgment when the movie actually comes out. And when that time comes, I will be making a review on that movie for sure. So I'm definitely going to go watch it. It's just that I'm not excited about this movie. And also, I'd like to add that I'm not one of those people that is a hater about, the new Star Wars stuff. I've really enjoyed the movies that have come out so far that Disney is doing of Star Wars. So it's not that I'm a hater, it's just that this particular film worries me a little bit. Our next question is from TJ, and he asks, are you doing any dev anymore, or just podcasts, audio, and video? And what do you think the future of the Mac is? So that's pretty packed. First of all, I'll answer the easy one, which is no, I'm not doing any development anymore for clients or for work, basically. That's no longer what I'm doing. I do it for myself because I enjoy still doing it. I enjoy doing development work, but I do it only for myself. I'm not doing it for any other clients. I think the future of the Mac is pretty bleak. And I think it's because Apple seems to care more about the consumer side of things rather than the pro side of things. I find myself on the pro side of things, and I like when the Mac had a better balance of being a great tool for professionals and also something approachable and easy to use for the consumer. I think right now it's definitely skewed more towards the consumer. And I mean, that's understandable because the devices that they make for the consumer, such as the iPhone, is such a huge moneymaker that it would make sense to devote more resources to that. But I'm really hoping that Apple gets it together. I think the iMac Pro was an indication that they want to do that. I do think that the fact that the Mac Pro was delayed till next year is not a good sign. I've said it before, and I'll say it here. Right now, I don't know of another company that does what Apple does better. And to me, I personally do not think that Windows is better right now. If it does become better, then, I'd gladly switch. But I really hope Apple does fix things because it's an ecosystem that I like and that I'm, very highly integrated into. Our next question is from Eric, and he asks, thoughts on how J.J. Abrams will handle the last Star Wars movie? Oh, so this is a big one. I am worried about this because I really like the direction that Rian Johnson took with The Last Jedi. I loved The Last Jedi. It is my favorite Star Wars film of all time right now. I worry that J.J. Abrams is going to come in and say, you know how Rian Johnson said all these things weren't important that I put in my movie, The Force Awakens? Well, I'm coming back and I'm saying that these things are important. And that worries me just because I really enjoyed Rian Johnson's vision on Star Wars, on making it a story about more than the Skywalkers. And I think that's the reason why he got his own trilogy. I'm worried that J.J. Abrams is not going to do a good job of closing this trilogy. And when I say not a good job, what I mean is it's not going to be risky. J.J. Abrams is a safe bet. He's going to make a good movie. Most people are going to like it. That's just the reality. But I want another polarizing movie like The Last Jedi was. Our next question is from Chris. Do you think Avengers will become the highest grossing movie, surpassing Titanic and Star Wars? So I actually did some research and I found out that Avatar is still number 1. Number 2 is Titanic and number 3 is Star Wars The Force Awakens. I do not think that Avengers is going to beat out these movies. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. We'll see. Our next question is from Ashley. I'm interested to know where your recent interest in photography has come from. I know you've always dabbled and enjoyed photography, but recently I feel like you've gotten into it in a big way. What's been the catalyst for that? I think this goes back to what I said earlier about needing a break from design and development. My feelings on design and development and the web as an industry are a bit too long for this video. But the short story is this. I needed a break. And I wanted something that would still exercise that creative muscle of mine. And I felt that photography and doing videos like this were the things that would do that for me. And I found out that I was right. I think as time goes by, audio, video, and photography will be the cores of what it is that I do. And I hope that over time, the things that I create become better. Our next question is from Chris, and he asks, with the release of John Legend's new music video totally shot on a Pixel XL2, do you think we're going to see more stuff like that? More movies or music videos shot on mobile devices? Or do you see a point in the future where cell phone cameras overtake dedicated cameras? This is an excellent question, and I'll reiterate what it is that I said before, which is I'm not good at predicting the future. I just want that to be clear. I think that we're definitely moving into an era where cameras on mobile phones continue to get better. Will professionals use cameras that are in phones for, music videos or movies? I don't think so. Professionals will use a tool that is dedicated to what it is that they want to do. But that doesn't mean that these tools aren't amazing and great, because Apple has a whole series of things that are shot on the iPhone and they look great. I haven't seen this John Legend music video, but I'm pretty sure it looks really good because the Pixel 2 camera is amazing. I do see a trend of going smaller though, because even DSLRs are going out of style for mirrorless cameras because professionals want to use something smaller, something that is more easily transportable and easier to carry over long periods of time. And I think that that is a trend that will be present in all of these different industries. And our last question is from Analia. And she asks, do you love me? And if so, how much? She already knows the answer to that. Of course I love her. And that's it. Thank you so much for all of your questions. Follow me on Twitter because that's usually where I ask for this sort of thing. Like this video, hit subscribe if you're new. Have an awesome day. Bye.